And then, I mean, that's where I'll start. But the chips on the shoulder, the chips in the pocket. When we started Kuzana, people told me it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Like, this is not going to work. The Africans will steal from you, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And of course, there's theft anywhere in the world, things like that, right? But that kind of drives you where you're like, I want to prove these guys wrong. They are not going to remember they ever said this to me. There's one guy who said, this is not going to work, you're going to fail, you're going to become poor, and your wife's going to leave you. If you go to Ghana, you must go to church. You must go to church. That is, I would say, the most surprising thing. Maybe Nigeria is the same even more. But it was like being in a club, but it was, 9 a.m. on a Sunday. And the choir is just rocking, and the choir conductor has like sunglasses on, everyone's there in their finest, dancing, like there's a little bit of preaching in the middle, and then they go back to more dancing. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I go to Uganda, so I'm like ready to go to the church in Uganda, and I'm like, I'm ready for this, and like everyone's
Interesting. Wow. Interesting. So, do you have any parting shot for the young people listening?
go out and do it. Go out and do it. The most important thing for an entrepreneur, the only advantage you have over corporates is
What's up, everybody, and welcome to How to Biz podcast by the Tech Hut, powered by our lovely community. Today on the show, I have, I think my guest needs no introduction at some point, but today I'll give you a background story about this guy. So, every great man is not born, he's forged through the challenges he goes through. And this guy has quite the story. So he started out at Brown University as a researcher before proceeding to travel across Africa to learn about biogas. And then he went on to start his own biogas company, Takamoto, which they raised over 1 million, not Kenya shillings, but USD. And then after that, he quit and went on to start a restaurant here in Nairobi. And then his restaurant has the Robin Hood story of, buying from poor farmers and selling to the rich. And then after that, he went on to San Francisco, where he did a bit of sales. And at one point, he emailed Jeff Bezos. So we were talking to someone who's talked to a billionaire. And that led to a sale. And then after that, he went on to Latin America, where he did a bit of agriculture. And after that, he came back here to Africa, where he started Kuzana. The man on the show today I have is none other than Mr. Schutter. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Rabi. Thanks so much for having me here today. Really excited to chat with you and chat with the community. Where do we have the cameras are over here, eh? Yeah. So the community, and hopefully people get a lot of value and figure out how to really grow their businesses.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about your story. Before, it's quite a tale, starting out from Brown University as a researcher to moving on to exploring Africa, learning about biogas. But before all this, now you're the CEO of Kuzana, a company that invests in other entrepreneurs. Where did you start?
Where do we start?
Where does your story start as Kyle Schutter?
Oh man, that's a tough one. So I guess I mean there's the part of your family is the first thing.
True.
One of why do you do anything, or why are you motivated to do it? A lot of people in my family, they were successful, sometimes financially, sometimes not, but it's something to live up to, right?
Yeah.
So my grandfather led a project that put a satellite in space. I think that's pretty cool.
Crazy.
My mom's a nonprofit leader, in Philadelphia, where we're from. She's done very well. I have other aunts and uncles who've, built chips and built programs and things like that. And so there's a saying, chips on the shoulder, put chips in the pocket. Have you heard that one?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so chip on the shoulder means you have something to live up to,
Yeah.
and then the chips in the pocket is the money, right?
Yeah,
So if you have that sort of thing, that urge, people think of it as a bit unhealthy. Psychologists are like, no, you don't need to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah.
But that does drive you, and that does get you started to be like, okay, I need to prove myself as a person.
Yeah.
To whatever it is. So it could be, education first, and then from there, like, okay, can we start a business? What parts of the world are really growing that could make sense to build a business in? And then, that's where I'll start. But the chips on the shoulder puts chips in the pocket. When we started Kuzana, people told me it's not going to work. Yeah. Like, this is not going to work. Yeah. The Africans will steal from you, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And of course, there's theft anywhere in the world and things like that, right? But that kind of drives you where you're like, I want to prove these guys wrong. Whoa. They are not going to remember they ever said this to me. There's one guy, he said, this is not going to work. You're going to fail. You're going to become poor, and your wife's going to leave you.
Crazy.
And I was like, okay. He'd had a few drinks, he's a very successful guy. He'd done business in many parts of the world. And I'm like, one day I'm going to prove him wrong. And he'll probably never remember he ever said this. But that's okay, because it gave me fire.
Fuel to the fire, kind of like fuel to the fire. So started out in Philadelphia, coming from a very successful family. So kind of like that concept of you have something to look up to, or someone to look up to, and you're like, okay, this is the standard. So I need to like get there. And then there's an interesting thing about children. Like, when you're born and you're being raised, your mentality is around, okay, how can I become better than my parents? How can I do ABCD better? Happens subconsciously. So how did that kind of like play a part in your story, in being the guy that you are today, the person who wants to prove people wrong, wants to, do big things with your life and start ventures, and right now you have a mission of minting close to 1,000 entrepreneurs.
Yeah, we say we
$1 million entrepreneurs.
Mint 1,000 more dollar millionaires.
More dollar millionaires here in Kenya.
That's good. Yeah. Like, let's destigmatize wealth. Like, why being wealthy is kind of looked at as like, or the businessman, the stereotypical businessman in a movie is a bad person.
True.
I don't know if I've met any millionaires that are bad people. They're very impressive people, especially if they're self-made, where they built a business or they got there through employment, where like they say a business works on you more than you work on it. Meaning building a business is a form of therapy, where you have to become a bigger person in order to do those things. Like, you're dealing with a customer and they're wrong. You want to tell them they're wrong, or you want to just solve the problem and smooth things over, right? You have to become a bigger person. And if I tell you, like, look, you're wrong, but I'm going to be a bigger person, so I'm going to let you be right, it's not going to work.
True.
They will never know that you let them be right.
True.
Right? And so to be the bigger person means that you hold that to yourself, and no one knows that.
Kind of be at peace with that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, okay, from Philadelphia, how did you find yourself at Brown University?
I just applied. I got in early, so there's a thing where you can get in early if you commit to one school. I liked it. It's they had this open curriculum, so you had more flexibility in what you could do, really. And they also had it was just like sufficiently weird for me, and it was good. It was good. I did really well in high school, and then when I got to university, I was average. I was getting average grades, so that was a very shocking thing, right?
Yeah.
But I still did well. I graduated with honors and did the thesis. There was a professor though that really changed my life, Professor Middleman.
Professor Middleman.
Professor Middleman, And he had a video he started the class off with a video where he was in Vietnam. You can imagine, just like it's in Kenya, of an intersection where the cars and the bikes and all the people, they're mixing together, and it looks like complete chaos, but it works.
Yeah.
You know?
So kind of like the scene of Kenya where you have motorcycles coming in, people.
Yeah, most crazy, intersection you can imagine, right? And that's what it was. That's how I started the class. And that one really changed my perspective on what things could work, because I was used to people stopping at stoplights and that kind of thing, right? As much as I traveled around the world, to some extent, that's not really what I was used to, or didn't think about the business opportunities in such an environment. And he was a project developer in Manhattan, so he built skyscrapers.
Whoa.
So he would build 50-story skyscrapers, and he would teach at university as maybe giving back or something like that. He was making way more money in business.
Yeah.
But you don't get the opportunity very often. Professors very rarely are successful in business because they would be making more money in business, so they don't want to be professors.
Yeah.
So it's a very cool
Or
class.
you find someone who's been through academia the entire life, so did a degree, did a PhD, and then became a professor.
Right.
So they don't really have the other side.
Yes. So it's called a clinical professor, or clinical professor. So you can imagine a clinician as a doctor, they're operating on people. He was operating in the business world and then brought that learning back to
the university.
And the way he was so strict about things. Like he would say, what's your 5-year plan? You'd write it out and he's like, this is not good enough. Not that it wasn't ambitious enough. It's like, you have not thought about this well enough. And I never had someone hold me to that high a standard about something that could be considered fluffy, like a fluffy topic, right? It's not very concrete. Like math is right or wrong.
Yeah.
A 5-year plan is not right or wrong.
It's not right or wrong.
But there is a level of rigor that you can apply to it. And he's like, you're just not thinking hard enough about this. I'm disappointed in you, Kyle. And you don't want to be disappointed. Like, you don't care about your grade. You just don't want to be disappoint this guy, right?
Exactly, Maze. I think what's the name of this professor? The physics dude who he's acknowledged as one of the greatest teachers of the century. But I think Professor Middleton will give him a run for his money.
Exactly. Yeah, he was an absolutely amazing professor. Everyone really loved him. And sadly, he passed away in a bicycle accident.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's unclear if he went through the red light or someone else did, and he got hit when he was bicycling and then died. So, so it was sad.
Yeah,
but actually, it's because of him that I came here, because I had this idea for this biogas business, which I developed in his class. And I don't think I've said this on a podcast before, but we pitched this idea, and there's a bunch of different people pitching, and other people were like, we're going to do this, and the judges asked me, so have you been to Kenya before? I'm like, no. And they're like, how much money do you need to really make this thing work? And I'm like, $1 million. And they're like,
off the top of your head, $1 million.
$1 million. I knew. I'd run the math. It was about $1 million.
Oh, you had done the math.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and they're like, well, this pitch competition is for $5,000. So this is not going to work. So we lose. Yeah. I was shocked. I was like, how could we lose? It was such a good idea. I was so arrogant and oblivious about how business worked.
Which is kind of like how everyone starts. Like no one starts with that knowledge of knowing, okay, this is how things work.
Yeah. Exactly. So we didn't get that. And then my mom sends me an email a few days later. She's like, Kyle, you need to start thinking about how you're going to finance your life and how you can get health insurance. Moms are really keen on the health insurance part. Like, you got to get the health. And I was just like, Mom, geez, give me a break here. We're going to figure. So this other person messages me, says, hey, someone wants to give you a grant of $5,000 to try this idea out.
Crazy.
Some anonymous person.
How does that happen? Is this the universe attracting you?
Exactly.
How do you explain such a thing?
Exactly. How do you explain such a thing? So I was like, okay, well, let's do it. I don't know who this person is, but that's great that maybe someone in the audience, who knows?
Yeah.
And, pursued this whole thing. And that's how I ended up getting here. And it turns out that person...
Wait. Before we get to that, I want us to go back to Professor Middleton.
Yeah.
His class.
Yeah.
And how did you said you grew up in order. So knowing, okay, this is how people stop at stoplights. People do this. But then you're seeing Vietnam and chaos. So did that inspire anything in you to like kind of like start or like come and solve for, yeah, we need, these places need order?
It's not that it needs order. I think it makes you design in a different way to realize that order is not really, if it was completely ordered, I don't think everyone would be able to get through the intersection. So there's just different ways that things work in different places, and trying to force an American way of doing things in 2025 on Kenyan 2025 doesn't make sense. They're just countries on different paths. And so you have to think about what's locally relevant solution for this, for Kenya or Vietnam or whatever
Vietnam
it is.
or for wherever you are. So this idea of now when you go to Rome, do what Romans do. Not
Something like
trying
that.
to
Something like that.
change.
Something like that. Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's
So yeah,
interesting.
like it's an old idea, I suppose, right? But
Yeah,
these things when they hit
timeless.
you, you're like, whoa, right? It just blows your mind. You tell everyone about it. Like, I saw this crazy video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, okay, let's get back now to your grant. So you've some anonymous person has called you. He wants to give you 5,000 to go and try out this biogas idea.
Yes.
What are you feeling at that time? How old are you?
Yeah, I was 22.
22.
I mean, I was super stoked. I was excited to do that because I didn't really, my other option was to do research and to get a PhD. That was my other plan. And I wasn't that excited about it. And actually, I met this guy, he was in Nigeria online, and he had a human waste business. And so what they do is they take human waste from latrines and dump it in the ocean. And so they're like, oh, maybe there's like a biogas solution there, right? So the idea was to go to Nigeria, which never worked out. But I was trying to decide in my mind, should I get a PhD and study biofuel, or should I go to Nigeria? And it was like, okay, if I get a PhD, I know what I'll be doing for the next 5 years of my life. Like, I've done the research before, as you said in the intro. If I go to Nigeria, I have no idea what I'll be doing in 5 days. So when you phrase it like that, you're like, oh, the iteration cycle is way faster. If in 5 days it turns out I don't like this, I can go get back and get a PhD, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's something interesting for all entrepreneurs, anyone doing anything, like how can you get feedback faster?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the time, at the end of the day, time is your most valuable asset that you can never buy back.
True. So having that low consequence mindset of not thinking, hey, if I go to Nigeria, or if I get lost, or if what happens, but just thinking of, oh, I have 5 days, see if I like it. If I don't like it, I can just come back.
Exactly.
So it's like having like
it's a two-way door, right? So you can undo. It's a decision you can undo.
But I do think majority of our listeners, I've been guilty of this myself, is you have a mindset where you're like, hey, if this does not work, it's kind of like the end of the world for me. Like there's that fixed mindset.
It's weird. I'm not sure if it's a personality type or it happens maybe to everyone, but sometimes you're just so low and it's like a hole you can't get out of.
Yeah.
And it feels like, you made some mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess, I don't have a particular. I guess we'll get to it maybe later. In the show.
But that's interesting. So having this idea of like low consequence of like, I'll just try it out, and then this idea of if I fail, like it's the end of the world.
I mean, the thing at the end of the world to me is if I live a life of insignificance, at least I should have pushed as much as I could. You feel like you don't want to be I don't want to be on my deathbed being like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many things in life that, just try it.
Yeah. Try it, see where this thing goes. So we're back at Brown University. You've got the grant and you're like, 5 days, if I don't like it, why not? And then you were saying it did not happen, like you did not go to Nigeria?
Yeah, the guy kind of bailed. He was kind of flaky, so it never happened. So I traveled around different places in Africa. I got to Ghana. I didn't know anyone there. The guy was supposed to pick me up. He does not picking me up. He's like, hey, I'm a big boy. I can't come pick you. I'm like, what? I literally know no one in Africa. He just ditched me at the airport. So anyway, I was supposed to work with him. That didn't work out. It was funny. And so traveled around different countries.
The guy who ditched you was the guy who was telling you to come to Nigeria. I have this
It was a
company.
different guy in Ghana. Similar situation though.
But the same kind of setup.
Same kind of setup.
Ah,
And yeah, it didn't work out, but I just traveled around to a whole bunch of different.
wow.
I had a blog. I think podcasts weren't really so big at the time, but
Yeah.
there's a blog. So twice a week, I was just posting for my friends and family, which was actually very effective because after I'd been doing that for like 3 years, I needed to raise money. Then people knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, Kyle suddenly decided to start a biogas
This guy
company
just
in Kenya.
popped up out of nowhere, and then he's like,
They've been following the journey. Because in the beginning, it's an emotional thing. Even for the investors investing in Kuzana right now, for a lot of them, it's much more emotional than financial. As much as I'd like it to be like, I would like them to say, wow, this is such a brilliant idea, Kyle. Let's, make a lot of money out of this. A lot of them are like, no, yeah, I feel good about it. And you're like,
so it's a gut feeling.
yeah, it's a
Just
feeling, not even a financial gut, just like, yeah, I feel like this, it'd be good. It feels like a donation to a lot of people.
Yeah. Wow.
And so you get to at
Interesting.
some point, it's not, like actually, so the person who gave me that $5,000 was middleman. I found out much later.
It was the professor.
Yeah, it was the professor.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So he didn't want to look like favoritism towards one student.
Yeah.
So he couldn't be public about.
So that's why he did it anonymously. But then I'm assuming that's the money now that you use to travel across Africa.
It's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, you've been to Ghana. Where else?
So into Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Tanzania.
Ah, okay. So one place in West Africa and then came
East
eastwards.
Africa. Yeah.
Wow.
I think West Africa was so hot.
Hot.
It was.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because it's on the tropical side of,
It's tropical here too. It's just higher elevation or whatever it is.
yeah.
It's much easier to live here.
Yeah, okay. This is a bit off topic, but how was Ghana now? How is the difference between Ghana and Kenya? Because in my head, I'm like, the Ogas, like those people, they are, it's a very high energy environment.
If you go to Ghana, you must go to church.
You must go to church.
You must go to church.
Mandatory.
That is, I would say, was the most surprising thing. Maybe Nigeria is the same or even more. But it was like being in a club, but it was, 9 a.m. on a Sunday. And the choir is just rocking, and the choir conductor has like sunglasses on. Everyone's there in their finest, and they're dancing. Like there's a little bit of preaching in the middle, and then they go back to more dancing. I was like, oh my gosh. And then I go to Uganda. So I'm like ready to go to a church in Uganda. I'm going to a church in
'cause you're
Uganda.
like, no,
and I'm
this
like, I'm
is
ready
the
for this.
standard.
And like everyone's just,
Quiet.
what?
Yeah.
What? I feel like, I thought churches in Africa were a certain way, but it's only, a certain kind, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah. So,
That culture shock of now moving from Ghana, where people are like going to church daily, and then coming to Uganda, and people are like, you just do your business.
yeah, they're much quieter in church. I'm sure there's crazy churches in Uganda, but different cultures. You realize how different they are.
Yeah,
I don't think we really appreciate that enough.
true.
That there's like a cultural software that people come with, and as much as every person is unique, and there's fiery people in Uganda, as a whole, or let's say the area where I was in, they were not that fiery,
Yeah,
like they were in Ghana.
yeah,
Maybe it's the flavor of the food. Like
Maybe it's
Ugandan food, like the key spice there is matoke and salt.
yeah.
Nothing. I didn't have much more spice than that. In Ghana, every single meal was the hottest meal I ever had in my entire life. So the guys you're eating with are just laughing. I'm just sweating, and they're just laughing at me how I'm struggling to eat their grass cutter soup with fufu and.
We move forward. You are writing your blog. You are traveling across Africa, and then at what point did you decide that this is something I want to do? Like, this is something I think I can pull off. To now starting the biogas company, or what was next for you after that?
So, arrogance, I don't know, but at some point you move along a path far enough, you have to keep going. It's like you swam halfway across the river. You can't just,
Go back.
yeah,
Yeah.
because there's actually a cost to that.
Yeah, true.
Maybe it's a cost just of ego, but I told the whole world this is what I was doing. So that was my identity was then wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
So in some sense, if you can trick your ego into doing something, then you can, you'll keep going, right?
Yeah.
Instead of stopping.
Yeah. So moving far enough for you not to quit, for you to keep going.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's the way to put it.
Interesting. So, okay, Takamoto, early days, who are you talking to get this company off the ground?
I went around to a bunch of different places. My idea was, can you turn waste into something useful? Gasoline used to be a very big problem, petrol. So the lakes in the US would catch on fire because when they were making kerosene, they would dump the waste product, which is gasoline, petrol, and they'd catch on fire. And so they turned that into petrol for cars when cars came around, right?
Yeah.
So any kind of waste product could have a benefit. Cow dung is a great fertilizer, for example.
Yeah.
So if we could figure that out, then there'd be something. So we tried a few different things. I tried going to the dump sites in Dundora and met with the people there, realized like you can remove the waste from there over their dead bodies. It's a protected thing. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. You're not,
Yeah.
And then, so what I ended up doing was working with smallholder farmers who had a few cows. If you have a few cows, you're already doing well for yourself. And then install these reactors. The farmers were super happy. The first, I would go up and down in matatus every day. I was living in Kibera. I would take a matatu up to Maranga, Kangema, and sold biogas.
There.
Yeah, as a random white guy. Must have been the strangest thing in the world to people.
Yeah. I'm thinking like somebody coming to my household and then they're like, oh yeah, we don't want anything. We just want your cow and the cow dung.
Yeah,
to do biogas.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So there's a lot of other better businesses I could have started,
but in a way that process shaped you. Like what lessons did you learn while pursuing that opportunity?
I mean, thousands of lessons. There's always, of course, the generosity of people. I think people can come to Masai Mara and never see Kenya. And the best thing that could happen to them is they get a flat tire on the way home. And they don't have any spares and they have to go find solutions and people because people will help them.
Yeah.
And some of them will do it for free and some of them you give them something small. Yeah. But people are very helpful.
People are very helpful.
And if you're lucky enough, you get to go to someone's house and have some chai and with too much sugar in it and all that kind of stuff and hear about how the bride price they paid and whatever and their family growing up. How they used to have lighting by putting sticks in the wall and you light the sticks and then as long as the sticks burn, then that's how much light you have to read a book.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa. So those are...
So when was this? This was back in
2011, yeah.
2012.
Crazy.
So that was in really the early days of Kenya. Still, Kenya was now after post-election violence. Now people are coming to the aftermath of that. So, what compelled you to now stay and build this business?
I mean, it just seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed like a good business. At the end of the day, I think it was a bad business for a number of reasons. But yeah, it seemed like a good business. We're having fun. I mean, every day was a blast because you're driving around on your motorcycle, installing these reactors and talking to these farmers and, they're excited about this opportunity, this new technology that they've always had access to, but they didn't know how to harness it. And so, yeah, it's really cool. We made lots of revenue, no profit.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
And so, so then the next business was the Thai restaurant where we made profit from the first month.
Yeah.
And that's where you buy from farmers and you sell to rich Nairobians. So you just realize
the Robin Hood story.
Yeah, if you sell to farmers with no money, it's very hard to make money.
Yeah.
And
so for the first business, Takamoto, you're just saying that perhaps your target customer was not financially able to now sustain the business. So that's why it flopped.
Yeah, there's two reasons. The second thing is if you covered the entire land surface area of the earth with the best biofuel crop, which is sugarcane, you still would not be able to power the world. So you realize that biofuel just doesn't work. Once I saw the math on that, then I was like, oh, okay, this is not a business I want to
It's a hard business to scale.
You just can't physically.
Yeah.
So like the only things you're constrained by in life really is physics.
Yeah.
We were constrained by physics. So you do the physics on it, it's not going to work. Then there's nothing much to do, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to fly faster than the speed of light. That's just never going to happen, I don't think.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Now, at what point did you decide that, okay, it's time to close doors and call it quits, move on to the next thing?
It was exactly when I saw that graph.
When you saw that graph?
Yeah, that if you cover the entire land surface area of the Earth, biofuel wouldn't work. Yeah.
It won't work.
Yeah. So then I saw that I was like, okay, what will work? Solar looks pretty good, but you need batteries. And what about nuclear power? Turns out nuclear power is incredibly safe, doesn't take up much space. We're never going to run out of uranium and thorium in any foreseeable future. So I worked at a nuclear power company for a bit, but you can imagine nuclear power startup, you need a lot of capital for
it to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, that
and
was
a lot of talent also.
Mostly what you need is political goodwill and you need to educate people that it's safe.
True. I agree.
And, that's
very hard to convince people.
Hard. Now it's coming around. It's increasingly happening.
Wow. So we started off Philadelphia, kind of like your early story of being in a family that kind of like set the bar high for you. Moved on to university where we met Professor Middleton and how he shaped your early journey to now finding out he funded your journey to come here to Africa and travel around, to deciding to start a company in the biogas sector, which I think is kind of like what other entrepreneurs do. Is like, this is the domain I have knowledge in, so let me start a business in that domain.
Yeah, exactly.
So once you see the math and you're like, oh man, this won't work. What happens next?
So I concurrently started a Thai restaurant, but I started accidentally. Accidental Thai restaurant. I was just cooking food for friends. I started cooking every week. They started paying me. We got a name for it. You started getting permits. It was an accidental thing. So that's what you realize is that a good business tends to be a bit accidental oftentimes. Like people just start paying you for stuff.
For things.
Yeah. And so we started making money right away. So I realized I wasn't a bad entrepreneur. In the biogas business, I could never turn a profit. Yeah. I was just pursuing a bad opportunity.
It's a bad opportunity.
And so that one just kind of happened organically. I made plenty of mistakes there as well, but you just start to realize that, What I like to think about is there's first-time entrepreneur, second-time entrepreneur, and third-time entrepreneur.
3 phases.
Kinds of businesses. So SpaceX is a very bad business to start as a first-time entrepreneur. You need a lot of capital, a lot of knowledge, a lot of goodwill, a lot of politics. Not good, right?
Yeah.
Biogas is actually it's a pretty tricky thing. It's not a good first-time entrepreneur business. A first-time entrepreneur business should be something that people have already done before. You're importing shoes, you're selling shoes.
Yeah.
You're making Thai food in a restaurant. Like this is not, people have done it before. It's not easy, but there's, you can also grow organically with it.
Yeah.
So we started with $3,000 of capital and just kept growing that every month, right? So you don't need much money in a restaurant. Meanwhile, if you're importing shoes, even shoes is tricky. You buy a container of shoes, you need, I don't know what, $30,000, $40,000 for the shoes. And then
transport it from the depot to the distribution, doing that.
Yeah, so it's not really a good first-time entrepreneur business.
Yeah.
And then there's second-time entrepreneur businesses, which are, a little bit more complex. So for example, for Elon, first he had a directory, online directory was the first business. Then he did a payments company, PayPal. And then there was SpaceX and Tesla. So you kind of think like, okay, you do the thing that you have the capital for today and you have the skills for, and you move up from there. And a lot of times we see when we look at companies that are looking to raise investment, they're a first-time entrepreneur pursuing a third-time entrepreneur business.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's just a mismatch of expertise. Like one day you could do this, but today you just don't have the network.
Interesting. That's an interesting concept, an interesting idea. So the Thai food restaurant, you started it out accidentally. At what point did you decide that, okay, let's turn this into a business?
There was a class that I took called Landmark.
Landmark.
You know Landmark?
No.
It was the most value for money and value for time of my entire life, probably.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they have it in Kenya, which is unusual. So it's from the US. It's in a few countries, including Kenya. Like, I think Kenya's the only place in Africa
Crazy.
where they have this class. Yeah. And it's a class, it's somewhere between, it's something like Buddhism in some way, or about integrity. And it's just a way of, running your life that you're okay with, and being on the court, not in the stands.
Yeah.
So you'll find there's the man in the arena quote, Roosevelt, of like people are always, the guy in the arena, they're going to insult and say they did the wrong thing, but they're not the ones doing it.
They're not the ones
The
doing
ones
it.
doing it is going to make the mistakes. So
True.
be the guy in the arena making the mistakes, not the one in the stands.
Yeah.
Right? And then when you make a mistake, you fix it. And then so as an entrepreneur, I'd made lots of mistakes. I had burned bridges, ruined relationships. And then, okay, how do you fix those things, right?
Crazy.
And so that really put me in a hole that I think we talked about earlier, like you can't get out of. And then I took that class, and it was just a weekend. It was 3 days.
3 days?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It was really, 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 really impactful.
Yeah.
And the people you meet there are really awesome.
And it's not even like a business kind
It's not a
of
business
like,
thing, no.
whoa,
And
crazy.
I don't know. I think it must cost 20,000 shillings now. I think at the time it was 15,000, which at the time for me was a lot of money. I was like 15,000. I'm not sure I can afford it.
Yeah.
Right? But somehow I was like, I need something. I need somehow to get out of this. My ex-girlfriend actually had recommended it to me. So I took that. And so at that point I took the class, and you're like deciding, should I, shouldn't I, will I regret this? And then I did it, and then it just became a case of flow, where it was just, one step after another. I'm going to do this. I'm going to build this. Like, you need to get a permit. There's this thing's on fire. So-and-so wants this, the meat's spoiled, someone's fired, someone's hired. Like, it just didn't matter. You just kept
It brings
pushing.
up to your concept of saying business works, like starting a business works on you as much as you work on it.
Exactly.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah,
So you decide to now operationalize and start the Thai restaurant.
Exactly, yeah.
It becomes a successful business and gives you the green flag of, oh, I'm not a bad entrepreneur.
Right.
I'm actually good at this
Right.
thing. Now, at what point do you say like, okay, this is something that is good and working, but I want to explore other opportunities?
What happened with that one was I made a mistake, which is that I did not have a long-term lease on the land. And so the landlord said, oh, we're going to turn this into a car bazaar at some
Crazy.
point. Yeah, so that one, and then I tried to find a new place, and it just didn't
It
really
became
work.
hard.
Yeah. And I was also trying to learn sales. I'm an engineer. And so what I realized is that if I wanted my next business to be successful, I needed to learn sales.
You needed to be good at sales.
Exactly. The other ones would have done better if I knew sales. And I thought the best people to learn sales from were, I thought, in Silicon Valley. So that's why I went there.
San Francisco.
Yeah, to learn sales.
Wow. So that's how you found yourself there.
That's why I found myself back there, which was a weird experience because I thought I'd be around other entrepreneurs. I'd feel at home, but everyone would be like, oh, you were in Kenya. That sounds so dangerous. What were you doing there? And I'm just like, literally everyone I know is running businesses in Kenya.
Yeah.
So you just realize there is this disconnect, right? And so you kind of felt like that didn't really fit in that well in a certain sense. But I did learn sales better.
Interesting. So interesting you bring up that Silicon Valley story, going to San Francisco. Now, how did you, like, what major lessons did you learn doing sales that kind of like changed your mindset from engineering to now sales?
So I made a list of a bunch of things. I have a post on it, but the top two things are, the first thing, the most important thing in sales is ask questions. Ask questions. When you wanted me to be on this podcast, the first thing you said was, do you want to be on the podcast, right?
Yeah, true.
You have to ask.
Yeah.
And so asking questions does three things. People get to talk about their favorite topic. You know what everyone's favorite topic is?
Themselves.
Amen.
Yeah.
Second thing is that you get to direct the conversation. Because you're answering questions you're already asking, right?
Yeah.
So I can say to someone like, what's your plan for being in retail in December?
Yeah.
Now they have to think about it.
Yeah.
Right? And then once you ask them questions, then you're able to pitch your solution that solves their problems.
As the answer now.
That's the answer. Whereas if you pitch, people got the idea of a salesperson. I had the idea that a salesperson is pitching, but actually they're listening.
Wait. Could you repeat that? I've lost track of it.
Yes.
A salesperson is pitching.
So you think a salesperson is pitching,
Yeah.
but actually the important skill of a salesperson is to listen.
Listening.
Yeah.
Crazy.
To find out what that person needs.
So that you can move on to the next.
Right. Or what they value or what they don't value.
But then let's come back now to because I think entrepreneurship and the way you stated it at Brown University, they had set up like pitch sessions where you're the guy now giving people your solution.
Yeah.
So if like after learning that, do you think that's the best model for having pitches, or is now kind of like, okay, here's my question. How would you approach the pitching different after learning this? Pitching your solution now at Brown University.
So the whole pitch experience is very unnatural. It's not an organic way. It's not really how investment happens.
Mm-hmm.
Investment happens where you're able to find common ground.
Yeah.
And just through conversation or relationship or chatting over time.
Yeah.
And maybe at some point you give the full explanation of what you do as a pitch, but the idea that you just get up there and you pitch to people and then they say yes or no is not really, because humans make emotional decisions and justify it with logic.
Humans make emotional decisions, justify it with logic.
Yeah. And the thing is, you're like, oh yeah, I could see how like dancers or musicians would do that or artists. No, all of them.
Everyone.
And the thing that really trips the analytical people up is they think they're actually analytical. At least the artists know that they're emotional, right? Or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's how humans work. And so that if they like you, they'll find a way to like you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just the way humans work.
Interesting. Wow. Interesting. So now you're at San Francisco and you're learning sales, and you say the most important skill you learned or mindset shift is that ask questions and then listen.
So ask questions is the first, and the second one is manage your own psychology.
Manage your own psychology.
Some days you're going to reach out to 10 customers, none buy. Some you're going to reach out to 0 and then 2 call you. Your output and your success are completely separate things.
So, wow. Okay. From the engineering perspective, it's like for every effort, there's like work done. Like if I press on this wall, no matter how much I press on it and it doesn't move, there's no work done.
That's a good way to put it.
That's the engineering perspective.
Yes.
But then it came to a shift of, wow, sometimes you put in effort, but there's no outcome.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage that psychology?
So, I mean, first is just to know and be input-based rather than outcome-based in whatever it is you're doing, especially on like a month-to-month scale, like day-to-day, month-to-month. Maybe after a year, you're still getting nothing done, then it's time to pull the plug.
Question should be asked.
So the other thing is to work out. So that became something that became important to me. I created just some tenets for myself of these different habits that I have. And, you know, I don't like working out. I work out anyway. Why do I work out? Because, you know.
It helps you manage your psychology.
Yeah. So that's how one thing. The other habits and rituals. I think religion's very good at this, where people have prayer, they have, you know, or meditation, whatever it is. They have events that are on a ritualistic scale, timeline. I think you can make working out a ritual as well. Yeah. Having people over for dinner. I would do dinner parties every Saturday. Like, why are you having it? Because it's Saturday. That's what you do.
Yeah.
You know? Just like you have a Sabbath or whatever.
Yeah.
Other habits for managing your psychology. Of course, meditation can work for people. Being around the right people, laughing about it. Journaling is good. I did journaling a lot. Every day I would journal.
Yeah.
It was just a free write, not trying to get anything done, just whatever's on my mind, just get it out. You can have therapists, coaches. These are all really important. Obviously, Lionel Messi has one, maybe many coaches.
Yeah.
Like, am I such a better person that I don't need a coach? I don't need a therapist?
True.
I don't think I'm better than Lionel Messi, so I probably should have someone who's a professional,
Yeah. So kind of like building a support system around you, like feel safes for managing your psychology and the frustration of work of, putting in effort and there's no outcome.
Exactly.
So how long were you on the sales?
I did that for a year and a half.
A year and a half. Wow. Now, after doing it for a year and a half, now, could you call yourself like a master of sales after that and you are ready for it? Or was it kind of like thinking, perhaps, like, was there a bit of a decision for you to make to leave the sales job and then go on to your next adventure?
Yeah, so there was, the company didn't do that well. And so we were actually laid off. And I wasn't sure what to do because San Francisco wasn't really grabbing me.
For you, yeah.
And I just decided to drive south on my motorcycle until I figured out what to do with my life. So I just drove south. I drove south for 3 years and ended up in Chile.
Chile.
Yeah.
Latin America now.
Yeah. So drove south, just kept driving. But stopped for a bit, started a business, started Airbnb business, started a leather bag business, started another Thai restaurant thingy. Then I started a fundraising business. And I was fundraising for companies in Africa, my friends back here.
Wait. That's crazy. Like, how do you get the confidence to like say, okay, I don't know, I don't have a plan, but I'm going to drive down south and see what happens?
I don't know. I mean, life's an adventure, right? So grab it.
Yeah.
I think to retire early and retire often is a good idea. Why would you wait till you're 65, 70 when you're not going to have the same amount of energy? Why not retire earlier? I made some money, not a lot of money in crypto and for this job. And I just wasn't happy. So I just decided to, because the idea was, I was like, okay, you made some money, right?
Yeah.
And you were saying this before, why start again?
Yeah.
And so after I was feeling down when I start this whole trip. So like, I like motorcycling, let's just go, right? And then on the way, you drink, I don't know, mojitos on the beach and margaritas and you have this great life and it's nice for a few months and then you realize it's not nice. Yeah. It became even more depressing. Like, I'm not going to live the rest of my life like this. I could have at least bought some small plot of land in Mexico, like found a wife, grown some pigs and whatever, and I could have had a life.
Yeah.
But
there's no real purpose to it.
There wasn't a purpose. Or, I could have just kept drinking the, margaritas and things like that. Yeah. I think for some people it might work, but I'd say retire as early as you can so that you can realize you don't actually want it.
Retire as early as you can so that you can realize you don't want it.
Yeah. There's something about this one actor, he said, I hope everyone can be famous so they can realize that they don't want it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of like, okay, I know what you're on to. It's called hedonistic adaptation. It's a psyche in the human brain where you think you want this. And then the moment you get it, the pleasure is not like as big as you had anticipated in your head. And then after you get it, after a few months, you're like, it's normal.
Yeah.
And I think also Joe Rogan talks about it on his podcast, where he says, the first time I got my first big check, upgraded my house, was very excited about it. But then after a few months, it just felt normal. Like that now became the new normal. Yeah.
Hedonistic adaptation is a good way.
That's crazy.
Good way to put it. But it's not even just adapting to it. I don't know. Just I wanted to feel like I wasn't a waste of oxygen.
Wow. Crazy. And did going to Latin America help you overcome that feeling?
Yes, I just started lots of little businesses along the way. and none of them worked until I did the fundraising business, and that one did really well. So,
Wow. Okay, awesome. So now you're in Latin America. You're fundraising for entrepreneurs in Africa. Why?
It's just something that came up. They needed to raise money, and I thought, I know how to raise money.
Okay.
So let me do that thing for them because they don't like doing it. And then you want some, I realize it's kind of in retro. So I did two things differently. I started with asking them, this will be useful for the audience, asking a bunch of friends, what do they want?
Yeah.
Whereas for the biogas business, I never asked a single farmer if they wanted biogas. I've never done that.
You're just like, this is what you want.
This is what you want.
need.
Yeah, buy it. So that was the first thing, ask questions, right?
Ask questions.
So I asked them, and this is a great way to start a business because you talk to 20 or 30 people.
Yeah.
And then you say, what do you want? They say, I want this, this, this. You go back to those 30 people and you say, I built something that does exactly what you wanted. Do you want to be my customer? And they're like, wow, you designed something for me.
Yeah. They feel special.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what they wanted.
Yeah.
So you get a few of them to sign up. So it's a very easy way to do a sale because you first say, hey, can I, chat with you about this problem you're experiencing, right?
Yeah.
So I can recommend that to any entrepreneur starting a business is ask people.
Ask questions.
Ask lots of people.
Lots of people.
Lots of your potential customers.
Yeah.
What their problem is exactly.
What do you
understand it? Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So that speaks to now the principles you picked up when you were learning sales in San Francisco. Now using it. The grant business. What happened to it? Like, did you scale it and then left, or?
Yeah, we still have that business. It's you can put systems in place so that a business runs itself. This is something that's really wild. I hired this consultant for $2,000 a month. I must have paid him for 6 months just for him to basically tell me, one, keep a calendar and put everything in your calendar. And I fought it kicking and screaming. And then, because I'm like, you can't control me, I'm a free man. I'm a guy who motorcycles around Latin America.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. When you chill down, keep that calendar, right?
Yeah.
You're like, all right, fine. So you do that. And then what was the other things? So the other was putting systems in place. I'm like, no,
Systems in place.
you can't. Grant writing or fundraising is complicated. There's systems. There's a certain way you do things. This is how we write things. And so we ended up writing about 150 pages of procedures. Here's how you onboard a client. Here's how you deal with an angry client. Here's what happens if you lose funding. Here's how you tell the person that they lost the funding.
Here's how you talk to your investor.
Or you're the entrepreneur you're working with.
Yeah.
Here's entrepreneurs, when you're trying to sell them the service, here's the objections they're going to have. Here's how you handle those objections.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I'll give you an example. Alex Hormozy is great for this if you listen to his podcast.
Yeah, I do.
He's got some objection handling ones. But it's like, okay, someone's like, I don't want to pay you, $2,000 to help me raise $1 million. Why can't you just do it all in commission? I'm like, well, if I were to say, give me $2,000 today, and you'll have a 50% chance of having a Range Rover in a year, would you do it? They're like, oh yeah, for sure. I'm like, all right, a Range Rover is $100K. This money is $1 million.
Yeah.
I'm saying $2,000 a day, you got a 50% chance of having $1 million in a year. Would you do it? And they're like, okay, I see what you're saying, right? And you presented them in a certain way, like you can't do it that directly because it's going to damage their ego.
So it's kind of like breaking it down, like telling the same thing, but in a different way.
Yeah. So they've already agreed to it and they're like, oh, okay, So there's just things like that of objection handling.
So having systems in place to make the business run.
Exactly. Systems.
Which I think is what your guys are doing at Kuzana currently.
Exactly. So what happened when we raised all this money for companies, we raised $20 million ultimately for companies in East Africa.
$20 million.
Yeah, $20 million.
Woo!
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's real money. But you've seen what's happened to a lot of different startups in Kenya.
Yeah.
It's not always good. The money, you're like, how did you burn through $30 million, right?
I always ask myself that.
How did that happen? And so you realize that having the money is actually not the solution.
The money is not the solution.
And my incentive as a fundraiser is to raise as much money as possible. My incentive was not to make them successful. We did our best as we could, but
Actually, you guys did pretty well. $20 million US for.
but they weren't all successful companies, right? So it didn't work out for the founders. It worked out for us.
It worked out
It didn't
for
work. Getting money is often people drowning in cash, right? You can drown because you got too much water.
So it's like that mentality you were talking about of like you think you want this, but once you get the money, once you get the fame, then you flop.
Yeah, or the money can kill you. The more money you have, the more you need to spend it. The more you spend it, the more managers you need. The more managers you have, the more it costs. The more entrenched interest, the more politics, the more it costs. The more you have to pay people. And it becomes a vicious cycle. And then you need to raise more money so that you can do the thing, so that you can deliver the results you claimed you were going to get last year.
Do you think it was the syndrome you're talking about of the founders of first-time entrepreneurs and they didn't really understand? Or what do you think the problem was?
Sometimes. There's a lot of loose money. So a lot of donor money is very loose. They have no need to see their money back. So 80% of venture capital in Africa is from governments.
Yeah.
Whereas in Silicon Valley, almost all of the venture capital money is private.
Private capital.
So they need to see their money back. And so it's a big problem because entrepreneurs think they're getting lots of money, but the reality is if an investor invests $100, they get their $100 back before you get a single cent.
Crazy.
So you as an entrepreneur, as soon as you raise $100 or $10 million, you are now $10 million in the hole. You need to return $10 million to them before you see even a penny.
Crazy.
1 shilling. And I think people don't really realize that because entrepreneurs, we're starry-eyed. We're optimistic. We see the future. We don't see the downside.
Yeah.
And so we think raising more. And you get, it takes 10 good years to do anything. You can raise money in a year. So you're like, wow, we're successful, right? Look at our fancy rooms.
Yeah, of course. You go off to Diani, put
Team
the
retreat.
pictures.
That's what we need. Build morale.
Yeah.
So what we saw was a lot of companies that I don't think were using the money necessarily in the best way because a lot of times they don't have the systems
in place.
They don't have. So there's 3 things for Kuzana. There's 3 things we found more important than money. One is the systems, professionalize. So you can go to Diani without having someone call you with an emergency every 5 minutes. So you don't go to jail. Our Zakayo is, looking for his pound of flesh.
Yeah.
Eventually people are going to start going to jail for not paying their taxes.
Yeah.
You saw there's a suit for Sendi. Even though they're bankrupt, they're going after the directors now to pay the taxes that they did not pay when they were. As a director of the company, you can go bankrupt, but you still owe the government.
So you have to find.
You won't pay your suppliers, but you still pay the government.
Crazy.
So now the directors are on the hook
Yeah.
for paying, I think it was some more than $1 million, I think, taxes,
Crazy.
supposedly. They pay. We'll see what happens. So that's the thing. You don't want that to happen to companies. And to put those systems in place, this guy, I paid him $2,000 for 6 months. It wasn't very expensive to put the systems in place.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the cost benefit of it is like crazy. Very beneficial.
And this is for a service business. So a product business, the systems are much easier. Because a service business is people based. A product business, there's a thing. Either it's software or a physical, tangible thing. So it's
Or
even
water
easier.
or whatever. So, okay, interesting. Wow. Okay, now we are at Latin America. After doing the business, raising $20 million US, which is an impressive figure for entrepreneurs.
So that's where I started the business. We hadn't raised any money when I started the business.
You hadn't raised any money.
Yeah. I mean, I raised $1 million for biogas.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then I raised a bit more. I was in Latin America, was in Mexico as well during COVID.
Yeah.
And then eventually I came back to Kenya.
So you came back to Kenya. What was the motivation behind that?
Just, I liked Kenya. I was also far, you realize that you think the world is flat and you can work from anywhere as a digital nomad, but you can't really. I was making it work. I would have business meetings on the border of Ecuador and Peru using my phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I'm such a badass that I can have meetings anywhere in the world and then jump on my bike.
Yeah.
But you're just missing a lot by not being here.
Yeah, the experience.
Yeah, so we started I came here and I did dinner parties. And it would cost like $100, 10,000, 20,000 shillings for a dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
And we got so many clients out of that. And it was a lot of fun. Imagine you can spend 10,000 shillings on Google ads. We weren't going to get customers out of that.
But
dinner parties,
10,000 shilling, invite people. So what are you selling at this point?
We're doing fundraising.
Fundraising for Kuzana now?
Yeah, not for Kuzana. This is for the other entrepreneurs. So you invite a bunch of entrepreneurs over. You invite investors over. Sometimes you sign some up, sometimes you don't. Who cares? You're having dinner. You have fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You build the community. And so the other thing is that any marketing campaign, which looks like marketing, is going to be overpriced. Or it's going to be priced higher than the thing that's more guerrilla marketing. Guerrilla marketing is like having a dinner party.
Unconventional things.
It's unconventional things, right? So if you can think of that, what works for your industry, or what you're uniquely good at. Because I already ran the restaurant, so I knew how to do.
Yeah, crazy. So, wow. Okay. Now, how do you go now from the Grant business to, I think, was it Grant and Co?
Yeah,
and
Grant
then
and Co.
Kuzana?
Yeah.
So how does that move happen?
Yeah, I went to this conference in Zanzibar called Zanzalu. It was crypto. Zanzalu, yeah. It was this crypto It was not really a conference. It was a pop-up city. So you go there for 6 weeks, and then you hang out with people. You have breakfast together. You give presentations, and so throughout this, I'm just chatting with the people there, trying to pitch this idea. There should be some way. Agri-processing makes sense. Tech startups do not make sense to me in this market.
That's the craziest thing. Like, you're in a tech event and then you're convincing people tech does not work.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people agreed with me, Yeah. Because the tech guys, they are paying for it. But just there's got to be something here. I've seen all these companies not work out. We also know that Africa is growing the way it's growing. The hustle, the entrepreneurship, it's unmatched. What is going on? Why are all the funds not doing well? What's the missing piece here?
So asking the right questions.
I guess so. Just asking annoyingly, repeatedly. Daniel from Wasoko was one of the attendees, so I would pitch him regularly, and he had feedback on what didn't make sense. So then we just decided to start it. So we're like, okay, cool, let's do this. I talked to a friend, we put our money together. And the thing that I think was key was not waiting for permission and just doing it. And again, this is something that's more like a second-time entrepreneur business, because you need to know how to run a business first to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
And you also need some capital to do it the way we did it. So if we tried to get money from donors, because we raised so much money in grants before.
And you have that experience.
I had that experience. I knew how to do it. And I knew that free money is not even worth the money. You raise $1 million grant, you'd rather not even have that money. You have to be very, very careful, because there's so many strings attached on what you can do. So as an entrepreneur, you want to be able to iterate quickly. If you get $1 million to do X, you must do X. You cannot do Y.
Really?
If it comes to pass that it makes more sense to do Y, they'll be like, that's not what, you could maybe get it redirected into Y or Y-ish or XEY, but you can't just do the next thing.
From X to Y.
Yeah, you can't. Crazy. And then you have lots of, strings attached on what you must use the money for. You must use it for climate. You must use it for, you can only invest in women. Climate and women, that's great. We wanted to make businesses that actually make money. If you want to have ones that actually make money, you must focus on the best entrepreneurs, and they're not only in the climate business. They're not only women. Both men and women can be good at running a business, right? So if you want to be successful, you must accept all the people, right? And you can't exclude some of them.
True. Crazy.
So if you get that kind of money, then you're stuck doing X.
Yeah.
And really, Y is what's actually working.
Going to work. Crazy. That's a crazy.
So we specifically do not take, there was some donor talking to me, he's like, how can we give money to Kuzana? I'm like,
no,
you can't.
You can't.
Right? So imagine I did this for so long. What we could do is we would maybe set up a special vehicle. We could have grants and then do something with that. But we would not take money into Kuzana directly.
Because it kind of ties you.
It ties you.
So it's like that fixed mindset.
It's called golden handcuffs.
Golden handcuffs. Crazy. Wow.
There's gold, but they're handcuffs. They're still handcuffs. You're still a captive, right?
Yeah.
And so most of the money that's from Wazungu has those strings attached.
Crazy. Interesting. Okay. So, Kuzana, you've pitched your idea to the founder of Wasoko, or the guy building Wasoko. So, is it only the two of you who now put money together and go start?
He didn't put money in, no. He didn't put money in, no. He was just one of the people that I talked with.
One of the people we talked to. Okay. So, how do you go now from, this idea to now, let's start this, to doing it? Like, what is the first step of action that you take?
The first step of action. I posted on LinkedIn, this is what we were doing. I think I posted as if it was going to happen.
So
then I got the response that was really positive. And I started meeting with a bunch of different entrepreneurs. And I was like, okay, there's a few things here that can work. There's a few companies. And then I guess you're kind of emotionally committed at that point, right?
Yeah, there's no going back.
Yeah,
so at that point where you like, back to your river story, you've already swum.
Yeah, you're halfway there.
you have to see it through.
And I, with Trump being elected, then I was like, okay, there's probably not going to be as much money in this.
In grants.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, and also just more aligned philosophically. It was always a philosophical conundrum where you want to work with people you're aligned with. Integrity at the end of the day.
Yeah.
If you don't have the same values, then what kind of work relationship is that?
Yeah.
So I knew it's something that I needed to get out of. And I wanted to work directly with entrepreneurs. I wanted to work on the things that I actually thought were important for them. And the things I could see were important for them.
Yeah,
versus what someone in Norway or someone in DC, they're going to say to an entrepreneur what's important for them. They're going to dictate that.
Yeah.
And they're like, for the next 5 years, what you'll be teaching is
A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
But you're not on the ground. You don't know what's going happening. Crazy.
You're going to be focused on cashews. Well,
Is cashew a profitable business?
Yeah.
Do people want cashews in the first place?
Right.
So kind of like
we're doing cashews in Turkana. You're like, there's no cashews in Turkana.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Okay. Now I can see. Do you think that
I will take your money if you will give me a 10% cut on that, but I'll tell you what you want to hear. That's what the whole system becomes.
Yeah.
Rather than about reality. And so the first principles thing becomes really important, and having honesty with yourself. Yeah, I think it's really tough to do for anyone, because you could be bribed. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Bribery is such a more expansive thing than people think, where you cannot convince a man of something that his salary depends upon him not understanding.
You cannot convince a man of something?
His salary depends upon him not understanding.
His salary depends upon him.
You cannot convince someone selling solar panels that climate is not a real thing. The climate's not a problem. You cannot convince a coal miner that carbon is bad.
Yeah, true. Right? Okay, interesting. Do you think it's because they have swum in the river long enough for them to I have to see it through?
They have to see it through. I mean, that's where their money's coming from.
Yeah.
So as a grant writer, it's very hard to say, oh, I think this is not good. Because that's where my money was coming from.
Yeah. So you have to align yourself to whatever the requirements for the grant is.
Yeah. And to be honest, sometimes you can find the right fit and it's perfect. When we find that, it's great. But I don't think it's the majority of cases.
Yeah, because I do think a good case study is Equity. Equity has been very successful with the partnership with the MasterCard. So that helped out a lot. Interesting. Okay. Now, you're like, okay, let's start Kuzana back in Kenya. How long have you done Kuzana for?
We started in January.
January? This year? 2025? Crazy. I have so many questions.
Okay.
Because in my mind, I'm like, wow, with the level of success I'm seeing on Kuzana.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. So you start Kuzana January 2025. Do the LinkedIn post. People are like, yeah,
I posted maybe in August last year.
2024.
2024, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. once you start Kuzana, how many businesses have you worked with so far
Yeah, so we invested in 10 businesses.
this year? Or were they
We'll do probably 7 more this year. We're
7
trying
more?
to do 17.
How many batches are those?
2 batches.
2 batches. Batch 1, how many people were in batch 1?
4.
4. So these 4 entrepreneurs, what kind of entrepreneurs are you targeting? Are you targeting the first-time entrepreneurs, second-time entrepreneurs, or third-time entrepreneurs?
They're often, I mean, I think in Kenya you'll find almost everyone's multiple. It's hard even to count how many businesses they've started, right?
Yeah.
They were selling samosas at their school, and then they were doing whatever, right?
Yeah, it starts in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do focus on businesses that are not, we quote unquote boring businesses, meaning ones that there's no product market fit. It's not a drone business. It's not an AI business. It's not a tech business. It is just, can we sell avocados better than the next guy?
Okay.
Can we make perfume locally instead of making it in South Africa?
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Can we make premium mabati in Kenya instead of making it in China and importing it? Right?
Crazy.
So those, it's just like one step. Like, let's do things a little bit better than was done before.
Yeah. So, okay, that brings up the mindset of now first principles. And I think the discussion we had earlier about American founders, like the founding fathers of America. So it kind of sounds like Kuzana is like one of the foundations of Kenya. Like founding.
No, I would not say that at all.
No.
I'm a visitor here. I'm not, I would love to be Kenyan, but
what you're
I am
doing,
not.
I think what you're doing is kind of like building the whole ecosystem. Because,
Yeah, ecosystem building, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you want to set the building blocks. Like, what's the right foundation? So what you find with a lot of these companies who've raised tons of money is it's like they're putting on a very nice, fancy slate roof on a foundation that's being eaten by termites.
yeah,
It does not matter how fancy your roof is, that house is going to come down, right? And so the first thing you want to do is set that foundation. You want to have the systems. You want to make sure you got the accounting in place. You want to make sure you're focused. You want to make sure you got the right team. If you think it's hard to remove your co-founder when you're making $1 million shillings a month, wait till you're making 100 million shillings a month.
yeah.
It's not going to get easier.
It's not
You better
getting
have that
easier.
conversation now.
Yeah, I agree. So, in the short span of 1 year, what successes have you seen, and why? Like, what kind of like discoveries have you found out that okay, this is what Kenyan businesses need to do for them to be successful?
Yeah, so we had, for the businesses so far, the goal was for them to grow 50% in a year. That was like, okay, if we could do that, that's good, you know? Because the stock market grows at like 10%. So 50%, 5 times that's good. They grew 170% on average in 7 months.
In 7 months,
Right. So you're like, wow. Yeah, so that's the question is like, what happened? Were these companies already going to grow a lot anyway? Or can you really, we gave them invested $20,000 in each company typically. So it wasn't even that much money. It was at almost 2.5 million shillings.
Yeah.
And there's 3 things we think are more important than money.
3 things.
3 things. 3 is always the magic number. Whenever you're doing things, it's going to be 3.
3 things,
right?
yeah.
It's all people can remember is 3 things, right? You know, there's a joke of the lawyer, the engineer, and the statistician walk into a bar, right? There's always 3 of them.
Yeah.
So there's, the first is to focus.
Focused.
Because as entrepreneurs, we do 27 things. We have 27 new business ideas before breakfast. And if you do all 27, you could not be the best in the world at all of them. It's just not going to happen.
True.
But you could be the best in the world at one thing.
One
I
thing.
believe that.
It's true.
Yeah. And so if you get someone to focus on that one thing, there's one company, they had soybeans and chickens. Half of their headache was chickens, half their headache was soybeans. But their revenue was less than 1% chicken. And so it's like, why are we doing chicken?
Yeah.
You know? Let's just do the thing that's actually making the money.
That is working.
And it's very hard to let go of these. There's always an emotional attachment to these kinds of things. So you have to work through that with them.
Yeah.
But as an entrepreneur, think about focus is the first thing. And then the second thing is the professionalization. So
Structures and systems in place.
exactly. If you went to Diani today, could your business make money?
Without you. Yeah. Whoa. And you're saying in a few months you were able to put that in place and the business skyrocket.
So those are some of the things. And then there's the community. Because entrepreneurs are very lonely, you realize. As much as they're talking to people all the time, you cannot talk to your customers about your problems. You can't talk to your employees about your problems. You can't talk to your investors about your problems. You can only talk to your spouse about your problems so many times before you create new problems.
Yeah, because before she becomes frustrated.
Yeah, before she or he becomes frustrated.
Yeah.
And so then the only people you can talk to are other entrepreneurs, but they're also busy
Doing their thing.
So how do you get people to connect and talk to each other? So it's less of a lonely business. And then also it's like, you see this guy succeeding in social media. You're like, I could do that. If you look online, you see some very successful guy, we mentioned Alex Hormozy, doing great at social media. I don't think I could do as good as him.
Yeah.
But I do think that I could do as good as Alfred, right? Or some other person. So I could probably do what they're doing, right? So then you start to like, everyone's leveling each other up.
Yeah. So it's kind of like bringing down the goal from like the $1 million goal to now steps.
Yeah.
Start with 10,000.
Yeah.
Go on to this.
Yeah.
So that is that the story why you started the WhatsApp community of Kuzana?
So there's a WhatsApp community. People can join.
Yeah.
We have lots of fun there. You can market your products on Market Mondays, Wisdom Wednesdays, Friday fails, post about the fails you have as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And we all laugh because we've all been there.
Yeah.
I post my fails there. Other people post their fails. So we got that. And then I guess the promise we have to entrepreneurs is they're going to 2x their business in 12 weeks with half the stress.
2x their business in 12 weeks with half the stress.
And that's something that's very practical. It's been done repeatedly for these companies. And it's not exactly a step-by-step process, but there's processes. Like we talked about before, there are things you can do. Focus is one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, first cut down everything aside from the one thing. And everyone's got a reason why they should be doing 2 or 3 things, right?
Yeah.
But what's the one thing? Everyone's got a reason why, this I know, but I'm special.
Yeah, but where does that mentality come from? Like, I think it also happened to me when I was starting out. I was like, let me try all these different things.
Yeah. So it comes from, we think business is to entertain us. That's not what business is for. It's to make the customer happy and to make money.
Whoa. So putting your ego aside.
Right.
And
if you want
focusing on your
entertainment,
customer.
go watch a movie. But we seek to, it's make work things, where we go and we do another business because we want to entertain ourselves to avoid the problem we're having here. Like, for example, of firing your co-founder.
Yeah.
You're like, instead of that, let me just, and you trick yourself into thinking you're actually succeeding. Paul Graham, have you heard of Paul Graham? He's the co-founder of Y Combinator. And when he became wealthy, he looked into why people who were wealthy fell and lost all their money. And what he thought was people frittered it away, they did betting, they did whatever, spent lavishly. That's not the case. Rich people lose their money thinking they're making investments, and they make investments they don't understand.
Yeah.
And they make investments to entertain themselves. I'm an investor, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Instead of focusing on the thing that actually made them money.
Yeah.
And just keep doing that and doing variations of that.
Is there a point in time where you are trying to do everything by yourself?
All the time.
All the time?
Yeah, it happens all the time. Happens all the time. And I've done it so many times before. When we say the obstacle is the way, did we talk about that earlier?
Yeah.
So one thing I had when I was doing the grant writing business is my hands became so painful that I could hardly type. And yet that's where I was making my money from. And remember, when I started this grant writing business, I had negative $8,000.
Negative $8,000.
So I'd done that motorcycle trip. I'd gone down from the tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I'd spent it.
Yeah.
Invested it. And ended up with negative $8,000, right?
Crazy.
And so I needed the money.
So it was a survival
I needed
thing.
it.
You needed it.
I needed it and I couldn't type. It was so painful. And it was so psychologically painful too.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I could always move in with my parents again. But then
Who wants to do that?
imagine, So I needed to make it work.
Yeah.
But I couldn't type. So what do you do? So then you start hiring people. And it's so hard to hire people. It's so hard to delegate. That's one of the things we teach at Kuzana is delegation. And most people you talk to, if they're very advanced, will say, just delegate. And they've forgotten how hard it is
When you're
initially
beginning.
to delegate. And so learning that process of delegating, and it's like a slow thing, like you delegate a little bit, you make some mistakes, you pull back a bit, you put no more processes in, you move it from one person to the next, you realize what you can delegate to who, right? But eventually you learn this thing. And as I'm doing this, I'm like, I should just do this myself. I can write this thing better. You wouldn't believe how many proposals and funders, I rewrote the entire thing,
Yeah.
because it was just not done the way I wanted it done.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was good.
Yeah.
But eventually got to the point where we had processes and all that I could delegate. Right?
So does the processes come before the delegation, or the delegation comes before
simultaneously?
The process? They happen together.
Yeah, they happen together. Because I think that's a good question. So you cannot make a process. This is a problem with having a consultant design processes. They actually don't understand
your business. It's the story you're saying of someone in Norway making decisions for.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It can't be a top-down thing. It's a continuous process. So I see a lot of people put processes in a PDF. As soon as you see a process in a PDF, it's a problem. You cannot edit a PDF.
Yeah.
It must be in a Google Doc. Not in a Microsoft Word document, Google Doc, because Microsoft Word is hard to collaborate on editing.
Yeah.
It must be in a Google Doc, right? And so you want to have edit access, but everyone else has comment access. And they can comment on what should be changed. They can make suggested changes to it, right? And then have your whole team and incentivize and encourage it and celebrate it. So a lot of processes are, one was we were using GChat, and what you might use WhatsApp, kind of be the same, or Slack, where every time someone would do the thing I wanted, I would celebrate in front of everyone, right? Like this person made an edit to the SOP, to the standard operating procedure.
Yeah.
Right? And so then you start just building that culture of doing that thing, right? So my hands hurt so bad, and I ended up having to learn how to delegate better.
Delegate to people.
This very difficult thing, because I delegated before in cooking, because it's pretty clear what good looks like for a pad thai.
Oh, in your restaurant
Yes.
your business, yeah.
I delegated for the biogas business because it's pretty clear if the biogas is flowing to the farmer. But in a service business, it could be much tougher.
Yeah.
And so then the whole thing of like, okay, how do you hire? So we had a very elaborate hiring process. How do you filter through these people? And how do you ask them questions?
Yeah, I think it was on the Diary of a CEO, and Steve was saying, after doing business for a while, as a leader, your biggest responsibility becomes hiring people, recruiting good talent. How do you think, how important is that in Kuzana's story?
Yeah, I mean, for some companies, they're not at the point of hiring yet. It's one of those arts I don't think I've mastered it all yet. I have a few pieces in place where you want to recruit from different places depending on the situation. If you do find someone, hold on to them and figure out what ignites them. It's definitely more art than science. You have a form. So we have a form for Kuzana when someone applies. We can't sort through the 1,000 applications we got. So we have, a system that can help us sort through, so we can just focus on the ones that we know could be a fit. Same thing for hiring. I hired an executive assistant.
Yeah.
Hired an executive assistant. I want to say we had 600 applications.
Crazy. 600. And you have to settle on one.
The good thing was there was one person that really stood out, but it took a while to get there.
So patience. Patience has to be...
So we had to filter through. So the first thing I did was I did a typing test for people. So then you can very quantitatively see who might be a fit. If we're hiring a bookkeeper, I ask them a case study question. Mary's got a restaurant. This is her number of customers, which she sells per plate. This is her rent. What's her gross profit? You'd be shocked how many people don't get that right as a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
So you already weeded out 80% of people. Then you give them a typing test.
Yeah.
You say, we work with Zoho. Which platform are you comfortable working with? They'll be like QuickBooks. I'm like, okay, can't work with you, right?
Yeah.
So you have that form, and then you just filter out, 95% to get down to the people. For Kuzana, we, like I said, 1,000 applications. We were very clear, you must have 300,000 shillings a month in revenue for us to invest. 3/4 don't have that amount who apply.
True.
So a lot of people are applying who are it's just never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. Yeah. So it sounds like you're investing in, could we classify those people as second-time entrepreneurs?
Why? They just have 300K. I mean, they could be first time.
Crazy. Okay. To someone out there listening and in their mind, they're like, this is an impossible figure to achieve.
300K?
Yeah.
Shillings.
Okay. What is your advice? Like, what do you think they can work on to get there?
I mean, you go step by step and you learn along the way. So it's all a learning process. And I mean, every business is different. So it's hard to give general advice.
In entrepreneurship?
Yeah, on entrepreneurship. I mean, when I started the fundraising business, I made a list I had 50 business ideas, and then I ranked them according to different criteria. One is, could I do this for 10 years? Do I have something interesting to say about this? Do I have enough capital to start it? Like nuclear power, super passionate about it. Do I have $7 billion? Let me check my bank account, right?
No.
And is this recession proof? Like, will it even work if it's in a recession? Can I do this anywhere in the world? There's whatever criteria you care about, and then you can figure out which
business you want to start.
The other thing that's really surprising about businesses, for first-time entrepreneurs, which I think is the best place to start, to start here, is a cash-flowing business, which is one where you don't have to deploy any extra capital to make a sale. So that's either a service business, like if for the fundraising, we didn't have to deploy any capital to get started, right? Or you have a restaurant where you pay your suppliers after you sell to your customer. So you have 30 days to pay. Your customer pays you in a week, right? So so there's lots of businesses where you get paid first before you have to.
So start with businesses that need no capital.
Exactly. There's lots of, so people often think that they're constrained by capital. I was talking to someone today about this, and she was like, it's so interesting in the Kuzana group how I've learned that we're not actually constrained by capital. I thought that's what it was. Because she's got this elaborate marketing plan. I'm just like, why would you spend this much money on marketing? You don't even know if any of this is going to work.
Yeah.
Start with a little thing.
And then grow from there.
Yeah, exactly. And then actually what was happening for her business is when I asked her to do the math on this, how much profit do you make from each product? Let's say it was 1,000 shillings. I was like, what does it cost to acquire each customer? We do the math, 2,000 shillings. Okay, so
it becomes unsustainable.
You're a nonprofit. You're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
She's like, I need more money, and you're like, well, the more money you have, the bigger the hole you're digging for yourself.
Yeah. From other people.
Yeah, if you get money, you have to repay that. So the more money you get, the deeper the hole gets. So the more money you have, it's not a good thing, it's a bad thing. Whoa. And there's a few things we should make a list of the things that blow people's mind. They're surprising, counterintuitive. Yeah. One is that the more money you have, the deeper the hole you dig. Second one is startups cannot do deals with corporates. That is the death sentence for most startups. There are a few exceptions, but generally a corporate works on a timeline which is way too long for an entrepreneur.
For them to pay you.
For them to pay you, even to do the deal.
It takes
they're like, I'm free for a meeting. Let's January. Yeah. Right. And you're like, we might be out of business in January, right? So there's just the time scale doesn't work. And what's the other challenge with corporate? The other thing is that entrepreneurs think that if they do get a deal with Safaricom, they'll be set. If we just get this deal, the number of times I've heard that, if we just get this deal with EABL, you're like, if you get this deal, you are bankrupt.
100%.
Because you will not be able to fulfill in this contract. because their requirements are extremely high and strict. Secondly, they're not going to pay you. They say 30 days. Good luck if you get it in 180 days, because you do not have the people inside that organization that you can either pay off or encourage or are friends with that make sure your invoice gets to the top of the pile.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you do get this deal, you are in big trouble. And they think that it's the best thing in the world. They're popping champagne when they sign that deal. Right? Because we had deals with some large banks in Kenya.
Yeah.
It was a huge waste of time. There's a guy I saw you posted on Twitter.
That was in your Takamoto days.
Yeah, Sakamoto days. Yeah. We're like, oh, we just get this deal with this bank, we'll be able to push. They've got however many customers. They got 5 million customers. If we just get 1% of that, we'll be set.
Yeah.
So delusional. So there's a guy, he's like, I'm starting a business where I'm going to set up all of your competitors with corporates for deals. They're going to waste all their time having deals because you go there and you take an Uber there and you put a presentation together. Oh my gosh, we did a Safaricom pitch. We put together a presentation for Safaricom. It never happened.
Never happened.
Why did they want to do it with biogas anyway? It didn't make any sense, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just, that's a really counterintuitive thing for entrepreneurs. Yeah. So the people want to get into supermarkets because it's prestigious. There's one company we work with, they're in supermarkets, their margins are less and they get paid in 90 days. They also sell on TikTok. Their margins are higher because they sell for full price, right?
Yeah.
And they get paid cash.
Yeah.
70% of their sales are on TikTok. The rest are in the supermarkets.
It makes sense.
But they want to do more supermarkets, right? And so then you go through the process like, oh, does that make sense? And like, oh yeah, you run the math, you realize that you're better off doing this like less prestigious thing, selling on TikTok, than selling, as much as your parents are very proud of you for selling on TikTok.
Yeah.
And this goes back to what you were talking about on the phone, where your parents want you to go get an education at a university, but is that really the best place and the best value for money?
Yeah.
When you could learn much faster, much cheaper somewhere else.
True.
You're not, like, if you want a picture with me with a cap and gown, we can make that happen at any studio on River Road,
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. You should bring that up. I think for what I've picked up, like kind of lessons for first-time entrepreneurs is you can't start a business with no capital, and that's the best business to start if it's a service business or something like that. And then don't do something because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you try to do it, it will end up failing. And then don't work with corporates as a startup. So who do you work with?
I mean, the general trade is a great place to work.
The whole market.
General trade means mama bogas. Because they pay cash.
Yeah.
Or those small kibanda kiosks. Like that would be more interesting, a better one. Everyone's got some specialty that they have something, and you start there.
And then I want to add a fourth one, like ask questions. Start asking your friends, what do you need, and then make that product for them or that service to them.
So asking what do you need is really tough. There's like a way, jobs to be done is a framework that people can look up of how to figure out. When you go to Java, you're not buying a coffee.
Yes.
You're buying a space with your friend or a potential business partner, right?
Yeah.
You're buying a meeting space that feels nice, right?
Yeah.
It's not the coffee.
It's not the coffee.
So there's a lot of times where people think they're selling one thing and they're not actually selling that thing. They might be selling confidence, convenience, etc. Right?
Interesting.
Trust.
Yeah.
Where were we going with all that? But yeah, so if you ask if Henry Ford supposedly said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Right?
Yeah. True.
So that's the tricky thing. You can't really ask people what they want.
Yeah.
But last time you're solving this problem, what did you do? Last time you were trying to go to grandma's house, what did you do? I got on my horse, and then the problem was, he was, really hungry, and so we had to stop, and we had to get some grass, and the saddle was broken. They'll give you a whole long story. And then from there, you're like, okay, there wasn't enough space for my daughter and my son, so there wasn't a space for the whole family, so we need a bigger horse, basically. And you're like, okay, so a car basically with the back seat.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's
Interesting.
that's
So
one thing.
that sounds like first principle of thinking, like thinking from the
What's
problem.
the person actually
Yeah.
solving here? Like if someone's buying flowers for their partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, they're not really buying the flowers, right? They could easily do this. The same emotional connection could be had by having dinner together.
Yeah. I agree. That's interesting. So they're buying the wow,
Or a kiss
you
on the
bought me
cheek also
flowers.
might also suffice.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to kind of like tell us about Kuzana, and batch 3 is coming up. What are the plans? What are you excited about? Who are you looking for? Perhaps one of our viewers is somebody
Yeah.
who might be interested in scaling their business.
Yeah. So Kuzana, we're an acceleration fund. We invest $20,000 in companies that are doing at least 300,000 shillings a month in
300,000
revenue.
shillings.
We've invested in companies doing as much as 10 million shillings a month in revenue.
Yeah.
And we look at really any business that we believe can get to 100 million shillings a month in revenue in 5 years.
100 million.
Yeah. So we want someone who's got big ambitions to be, bigger than Bidco one day.
Yeah.
And together
You can make it happen.
we can make it happen.
Crazy. I think there's just something about like getting ambitious people together that changes the world, like changes how
Exactly.
things are done.
Yes.
And I genuinely thank you for coming to this podcast. Like I've enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise.
I think we can have this conversation more and more and more and more and go on. But yeah, I'd be happy to have you back.
Great.
Listen
Be back
to
for
how
episode 50.
Yeah. True.
I hear like 50 episodes is the minimum. That's where a podcast is like hit its stride.
Yeah. And we're at number 4.
Great.
So we
Almost
have
there.
Almost there. Interesting.
Ravi, great to connect.
Great to connect with you, Kyle. Yeah, thank you so much. To our viewers listening, I don't have much to say. I think there were questions from the community around your mentality around investing. So throughout the podcast, you've talked about investments a lot and your experience around it. You said humans make the connection by gut feeling. So I'd like to ask you, if you were to go back to my age, how would you fundraise for your business? Would you fundraise for your business?
The best investor you'll ever have, the best investor. Do you know what it is? What?
Your customer.
You already know the answer then.
Yeah.
So your customer is aligned with you. They're not going to take a part of your business, right? Your investors might push you to sell to one particular customer or another, but if your customer's buying from you, you already know what they're buying. So it's like the question of who to sell to is already solved by the act of selling.
Interesting. So what you're saying is, if you were to go back, you would start a business that just serves your customers well.
Yeah. So you want a cash flowing business like a restaurant. We started with $3,000. You could definitely start with less. Kenya, by the way, if I were to start the same business in the US, it would have cost more than $100,000 because you cannot just get the permits as you feel like along the way. You have to, there's like the safety and health. We would have to be at a completely different level than you can start in Kenya. So we have so much opportunity in Kenya to start these kinds of businesses. I think people don't realize how lucky they are.
To be in Kenya.
Yeah, because you need way less capital to actually start a business.
Way less capital.
Yeah, so basically you get paid before you have to pay your staff, before you have to pay your suppliers. So then as you get more customers, you finance your business.
Yeah, makes sense.
So you keep growing your business kind of organically.
Okay, for the avoidance of doubt, you're not saying start a restaurant business.
No.
What are you saying? What should they do when they're starting out?
So you just have your customer finance your cash flows. Maybe that's a complicated and jargony way to say it, huh?
Yeah.
It's hard to say in the general case. I mean, a service business, again, is typically a good one where, let's say you're a real estate agent. You don't have a lot of costs to get around. there's your friends. Think about all the things they buy. They buy pens and pencils and papers. Like, why are they not buying from you?
Ah,
Right?
yeah,
Like, why are they going to buy from someone else?
yeah.
You make a few shillings.
From the common day-to-day businesses.
Yeah. You've seen all your friends what they're buying and they already trust you. It's very hard to buy from people you are not in the same culture with. It's very hard. You might speak the same language, but if you're not, you can't relate to their culture, it becomes very tricky. So you find that 94% of the capital raised in Africa is by people educated not in Africa.
True.
Not that so a lot of them are white like me, but a lot of them are Africans, but they're educated somewhere else.
Outside, yeah.
Because then they've adapted
went
that
to
culture.
Harvard, came here, raised
Exactly.
money.
So whatever it's the accent or the way they interact or the networks, common networks are very important to be able to do deals on that, that size.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Interesting. So, do you have any parting shot for the young people listening?
Go out and do it. Go out and do it. The most important thing for an entrepreneur, the only advantage you have over corporates is you can move fast. You do not have the brand, you do not have the network, you do not have the capital. You don't even have the talent. Safaricom, you might be smarter than everyone at Safaricom, maybe, but you're not smarter than all of them together, right?
True.
So the only advantage you have is you can move faster. And so that means you have to start tomorrow, because if you're not starting tomorrow, or let's starting today, let's even start today. Like, why are you
Start
waiting?
after listening to this.
Yeah. If you're pause this right now. Don't even live. If you're listening to the rest of, if you're listening to this, you've paused too late, right?
Yeah.
Pause it and just go build the thing. You already know what it is. Like, everyone knows in their heart what it is. You know, you go to one of these coaches, they say some amazing thing. That thing was already inside of you. You already knew what it was. You're just waiting for someone to tell you. So this is us telling you,
Go and do it.
do the thing in a capital efficient way, asking questions, doing baby steps along the way, but like every day, make a step, and then join Kuzana. We have a WhatsApp group, so definitely join that. If you go to kuzana.co, there's the WhatsApp groups there. You can apply there. We'll have some classes coming up as well on finance for founders. I realize there's no class anywhere in the world I can find on finance for founders.
Yeah.
It's all double entry accounting, discounted cash flow. These are things entrepreneurs don't need. What we need to know is, can I afford to get a loan? Should I spend more money on marketing? Which product should I focus on?
Oh, sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's fun. Anyway, so yeah, see us there. Join us. It's going to be super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for listening to this show till this point. Mr. Kyle, thank you so much for honoring the invite and sharing your knowledge openly with the world. Hopefully, Kuzana, if you're listening to this, funds you someday, but you have to make 300,000 Kenya shillings. Thanks.
There you go. Thank you.